Hello YouTube, welcome to another edition of the Ghostlight Social, the show where by now you know what goes on. We get creative people on board, we have a little bit of a chat, a little bit of a natter, hopefully a bit of a laugh, and you guys come along and enjoy the ride. With me as always is Mr. Lee Toombs. Hello Lee.
Hello Mr. Michael Hunter.
I've changed my camera around, so...
What do you mean you've changed your camera around?
I've mirrored it, because I'm always really confused about which way to look, and now I'm even more confused.
It looks exactly the same to me.
Well, oh yeah, it's this. There we go.
No, it's exactly the same. It hasn't changed.
Senna's on this side now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's not
Right.
on that side.
Okay. Oh well, I can sleep a bit easier.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Mike?
I'm all right. I've been a bit dodgy the last couple of days. I was a little bit worried. Again,
You're having another relapse.
Yeah, I thought I was because obviously the stuff I do outside of this is social care work. So
Frontline.
And so the place I work was active for COVID for the best part of about a month, and so I had it and then was off for the best part of 3 weeks and gone back into an active COVID placement. So you know, paranoia. You know, I'm just totally whenever I go in. But at the moment we're clinically post COVID, so everything's all right. But it's just me and my anxiety and just going, whoa, you know, working 30 hours over 2 days and sleeping for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's COVID. That's making me head hurt. It's not the fact that I've worked too much and slept too little.
Well, there is that, yes. But well done.
Thank you.
Well done for keeping going. Right, okay, let's get on with it. Please like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. And I want to introduce our lovely guests that we have with us this evening. We have Rod Dixon from Red Ladder Theatre Company and actor and all-round good egg, Alyce Liburd.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello. How are we doing, Rod? How's it all going?
Oh, yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's still a bit weird, but yeah, it's all right. I'm doing weird things. Like, I went to a garden centre this morning and bought a spade and a fork. That's mad. I never do anything like that. I've got a garden. I have got a garden, but...
Have you used it yet?
No, I haven't still wrapped up. But I tell you what, the garden centre was terrifying.
What, busy?
Busy with all the people who are vulnerable, so old age pensioners who don't give a damn about social distancing. They're like, I'm 75, I'm going to die anyway. And they're just pushing past you, and it's like, oh God, it was a nightmare. It was much busier than I thought it would be, and I just thought, what am I doing here? I'm going to get something. I'm going to catch it.
Were you masked up?
I was masked up. They weren't. The old codgers. I mean, I'm an old person as well. I'm not being ageist, but they were just like gangster grannies.
See, that surprises me about the garden, because I had you down as somebody that might just have a little something growing in the garden.
We've got a tiny garden, and it's embarrassingly overgrown, and so before the neighbours start to say that we're lowering the house prices, that we're going to tidy it up a bit.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Slash and burn. That's me. Like, you know, like ploughing through the Amazon, but it's our back garden in Todd.
Well, so you're adding to climate change if you chop it down. Is that what you mean?
Probably, yeah.
Alyce, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm very good. All good here.
How are you coping?
I'm all right. I mean, I've had like my moments. I've had some wobbles here and there throughout the lockdown, but no, I'm doing all right. I was kept quite busy right at the start, because I continued rehearsals, because I'd started rehearsing a show and then we carried on through Zoom and stuff. So that kept me going for a bit, but now that stopped. I'm a bit like, oh, you kind of feel it.
We're jumping the gun slightly on questions, but that's interesting. So even after lockdown, you carried on rehearsing through. Did they think it was only going to last a couple of weeks?
No, we just kind of, I think, because so it's a co-production between Red Ladder and Leeds Playhouse and Ensemble, and they looked after us really well, and they paid us, you know, which was very lucky for us guys. But then, because obviously we had a certain amount of contract filled, we thought, well, you know, why don't we just see what we can do still in this time? So we got a lot done, you know. So we did some choreography, we worked through all the songs, like through WhatsApp and stuff. So it was kind of a learning experience, but it helped me right at the start.
And just remind us the name of the play.
It's The Not So Ugly Sisters.
Is there some hope that it can be remounted?
Yeah, that's the hope. Yeah.
It's got gigs booked, doesn't it?
Oh, of course.
Booked.
Because it was doing the Red Ladder circuit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's ready. It's kind of a little package ready to kind of go as soon as everything kind of comes back to normal. So fingers crossed. Yeah.
And how was it rehearsing over Zoom and movement and all that kind of stuff?
It was a bit weird to start with, but once it just kind of became normal. But we did a lot of like the choreography, like discussing it, then we'd go away, film something, send it, discuss, and then kind of film the final thing. And it was good actually. It was different.
It just kind of shows what's possible, doesn't it? I mean, it's never going to beat being in a space with people, but if you can get 80% there.
Absolutely.
I mean, the worry is that they maybe go, you stay at home for 2 weeks and then we'll shorten the rehearsal period even more.
I'm not sure how I'd feel about that. I mean, how would we spend most of the time playing games, Rod, if we're on?
Keep me uppy. Well, it would be amazing, wouldn't it? You could keep me uppy for hours. 456, 457.
Literally never get anything done.
Don't get much done in my rehearsals anyway. So I just opened Smile Club. We'd just done our first few shows. We opened at Leeds Playhouse and did really well. And then went on a week's tour. And actually, it was me that pulled the plug on that one. My son was living in Shanghai back in January, and he came home in February, and he said to me, "Dad, this virus is really, really bad. You would be irresponsible to let that show tour the UK." And I said that to my producer, and he said, "Well, we're going to lose money." And I went, "Well, I don't care. I think we should blow the whistle on it." So we pulled it after a week. From a business point of view, everyone was saying to me, "Oh, on your head be it, on your head be it." And I went, "I don't care. I don't think I'm really frightened for those people getting in a van and driving to, South Wales and all the rest, because it had a national tour booked. I couldn't live with that if they got really ill. We've got responsibility as an employer. So we just opened Smile Club, and luckily it had just got its national reviews, so that was all right. So at least we've got reviews to stick on it to try and bring it out again. But like Alyce said, the great thing about having it ready is what we're thinking of doing is trying to bash out like the Ensemble show, Damned United, Wrongen, Smile Club, maybe Parting Glass, although that's going to be tricky because Alyce is in that as well. She might get mixed up and start
alternate
singing songs, and that's not very appropriate in that show.
They're very different shows as well, can you imagine?
And just have them ready to go, so that as soon as anything's open, we can just say, "Yeah, you've got nothing on your stage." But to be honest with you, I mean, again, jumping ahead, but I can't see theatre buildings opening for a good while. Maybe like our circuit might open with working men's clubs and stuff like that, if small numbers can gather, but 400 people gathering, it's not going to happen, is it?
I felt a bit guilty at the start. I was like, I don't feel like I'm engaging with enough things like online and stuff, but then I was like, there's just something that's just in me that I don't know what it is. Like I can't, like my creativeness feels like it's just not here. Like
have you not done any monologues then?
No.
No?
No, I haven't.
Have you watched any?
I've watched a few, but...
Okay. How does it make you feel inside?
It makes me feel really, really good. No, I mean, I admire everyone that is, doing all the things and putting stuff out there, but there's just something inside me that, I don't know, like, I have to be in a room and to be, I don't know, there's just something about that I just can't get past. And also like watching live theatre, I've only watched 2, and even then I was just like, I had to like will myself to kind of get through it. I'm so old. I've never done a self-tape. It didn't exist when I was an actor, so I have no idea. That must be horrible, doing an audition in front of your iPhone.
Do you know the problem with self-tapes is that I think you've got to get into a mindset of not repeatedly watching it. Yeah. You've got to do it, and if it feels right, and then sort of skim watch it, and if it looks okay and sounds okay, forget the performance, just send it if it felt right. Because otherwise, you are constantly going, I'll do that again. I'll do it again. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. And it can never be right. And that's the problem with self-tapes, I think. But as actors, I think we're gonna have to fucking get used to it because that's what's happening.
At the same time, in my heart, I kind of go, I hope this kind of brings like people to kind of want to see each other in rooms more. Like, I know self-tapes are so like in some ways a bit more accessible, you know, people can, you know, do things and be in a show and send a self-tape for something else, or it can't be somewhere else. It is, you know, helpful in that way, but I just, like, for me personally, me auditioning in a room compared to a self-tape, you just can't, it's just not the same thing at all.
People have said to me who've not been able to make a Red Ladder audition, can I send you a self-tape? And I usually say no, not because I'm being a git, but I like to chat to the person. I want to get to know to the person.
Of course you do.
I'm going to work with them all day. I'm going to work with them for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And they may be brilliant actors, but they might be a pain in the arse. Or they might think I'm a pain in the arse.
I was going to say, more importantly, they've got to work with you in a room.
You should have had a longer chat, Ross.
Yeah, absolutely.
Never again. The thing about auditions is, if you've been called to audition, you're a good actor anyway, because you're trained, you've got a good CV, all the rest of it. So it's not about the acting. Partly is, but mostly it's to do with whether you, well, are you going to be one of those people who at 3 o'clock is going, can we have another tea break? Can we have another tea break? Or can I have a fag break? Or are you just going to plow on? And they're the people that, you know, that's how you find out, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
You don't find that out on a tape. So.
Well, as you were saying, especially in one of your rehearsals, Rod, because by 3 o'clock you've only just started.
Yeah. Games are a really important part. Mucking about.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Was the last acting job that you did, was it sex and doc and rock and roll?
Yes, it was. Yeah,
because I saw that at City Variety. But the question I was going to ask you,
why was I so shit?
No, not at all. To be honest with you, I can't really remember it, other than that it was a bit hectic. Can you remember what the last line was that you said to the audience
on that show? I mean, it's 7 years ago.
Is it? Oh
yeah.
My God.
2013.
Okay. Can you remember what the last thing you said to a live audience was?
It would have been something really dull, like a Q&A or something like that.
Well, your Q&A's really dull.
Yeah. Aren't they, Alyce? Once I'm like a clockwork. Is he ready? Yeah, wind him up. Okay, we'll creep up. We'll do the get out and leave Rod to just cop on to the audience.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Have a think, or any line from.
Well, I did a podcast last week for Theatre in the Rough.
Oh, okay.
But that was sort of like live performance in a way.
What's the last thing you said? Can you remember?
Yeah, I said I hope Liverpool win the league.
Well, of course you did.
Oh.
Alyce, what was the last line that you said to a live audience?
In 4 minutes 12 seconds, and it was "Go home to your son."
Go home to your son.
That was my fan.
That's quite apt, isn't it? At this time.
Go home, guys.
Go home. Oh, good. I like that. I like that little segment. We'll definitely keep that.
Yeah, it's good.
I wish I'd prepared it.
What was your last thing?
To an audience, it'll be 4 minutes 12 seconds, I would think. At least this way we can still be a team. Me and you, eh?
You and me, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did you like your character?
Yeah.
You have to, I suppose. But
yeah.
I thought he was a fascinating character. I felt so sorry for him.
Well, that's interesting, because most people don't.
No, I, on reflection, I felt. I mean, we shouldn't talk about this because the audience don't know what we're talking about. But you know, I felt sorry for him because he was weak. He couldn't help his personality. He was just weak, you know. So
yeah. What's the most coronavirus thing you've done, Alyce?
Banana bread.
It's a classic.
It's a classic.
However, I'm just not bog standard banana bread. Slow cooker banana bread.
Oh.
Yeah. Change your life.
It's not just lazy banana bread.
No. It's just so much better. Like, it's like more moist. Not a great word for some people. But it's just better. Honestly, hands down. Do it in the slow cooker.
I have never eaten banana bread. Never.
Why?
Well, because banana in bread.
Oh, mate. Oh, change your life. Like, it is genuinely really nice. Hence why everyone's making. I mean, it is easy to make.
It's not literally bread; it's cake anyway.
Yeah, cake.
Yeah. It's like banana cake.
You sound like, what's his name?
I know. Garlic.
bread.
Rod, most coronavirus thing?
Well, I've done all the. I'm bored now. I've done all the yoga. I've done all the qigong. And actually, what happened today was something that was really COVID-19. I absolutely terrified an old man, and I didn't mean to do it. But I was walking to the woods. I walk the dog every day, so that's my corona thing. Walk the dog every day. And I'm lucky to live in the middle of the Pennines, so I can get away from people fairly quickly. And I go about R5 when it's fairly quiet. And I was up in the woods, and I was listening to a track. Actually, that's going to be my corona track. It has to be. I was listening to it, and I was singing it at the top of my voice because nobody was around. And the dog was God knows where up ahead. And I got to the chorus, which is When You're Dead. And I was singing, When You're Dead, as loud as I could. And there's a bloke behind me, about 3 meters behind me. And he was too afraid to overtake me, or I had my headphones in anyway, so he couldn't see me. So I turned around, and there he is, looking absolutely white as a sheet. And he's holding on to his dog as tight as he can. And I went, oh, sorry, mate, sorry, I was just singing. And he just ran. I've never seen somebody elderly run. Socially distant. He was socially like he was on a bungee rope. He just so that's my corona moment. I nearly killed somebody. I noticed one of your tracks is Tilted, and it just makes me jump up and down. And I was listening to that the other day as well, walking across the tops, and I was bopping away, and I was thinking, if anybody's got a drone or if those sheep are watching me, they must think I am crazy, but there's nobody around, so why not? That's the great
absolutely. Good. Okay. Well, while we're on the subject, then you might as well give us your song for the playlist.
Well, that was "Tickle Me Pink" by Johnny Flynn.
Okay, good. It's about killing old men.
Yeah, it might as well be.
So is that song just because of that, or is there any other reason that you picked that?
It's funny. I've been listening a lot to Johnny Flynn and Laura Marling. They're both posh kids, aren't they? I mean, they're both really posh, but good musicians. And I listen to a lot of podcasts, like Adam Buxton's podcast is brilliant. Oh, yeah. And he's interviewed Laura recently, and also Louis Theroux started a podcast on Radio 4, Grounded. Yeah. So the dog doesn't get much attention when I come out. Well, I'm giggling away to Adam Buxton or whatever. God knows what the dog is.
Do you have a voice for the dog as well? Like, do you have a voice for the dog like Adam Buxton does?
Rosie! Yeah. Our dog's called Tilly. She's got a really gruff voice, actually. It's very like Rosie. I reckon she does talk like that. Why don't you talk to me? Always listen to bloody podcasts. She's a Cockney as well. She's a Cockney dog, clearly. So,
yeah.
Brilliant.
She's got an accent.
Okay, fair enough. Alyce, what have you got?
I couldn't narrow it down, so I've got two in my head. But I think the one I'll go with is Never Too Much by Luther Vandross.
Okay, why?
Because I'm usually probably the first one on the dance floor. This is the song that'll get me up regardless, anytime, any place. And I just think it just spreads joy.
My brother used to play Luther Vandross like every Friday, Saturday night while he was getting ready to go out in his green silk jacket and his black polo.
Yeah. Love it. That's my kind of vibe.
Those two are on the list. Thank you. What's your vice, Alyce? What's been your vice during lockdown?
Probably, I get music.
Okay.
You know, I think I'm one of them people that if I'm in a bad mood, put on some music and I'm, instantly changed. Okay. And a bit of the old.
I was going to say that's a hell of a glass of wine that you're drinking out of.
I mean, why do it in small measures, guys? If you're going to go in. Do you know what I mean?
It's just your face disappears every time you take a drink.
Well, I have a big face, Rod, so we've got to find the balance somewhere. Big hair, big face, big glasses.
Okay, all right. So yeah, fair enough. So music and alcohol. Good. Okay, Rod, what's your vice been?
Was it a vice? But I've started properly getting into cooking, and it's all basic stuff like omelets and stuff like that. But really, I'm doing a good job of it. And the kids are eating it. They're not turning their nose up.
Fair enough.
I've honed my roast potatoes. They're really good roasties now, and sort of stuff that you don't really think about doing properly. Normally, you just do it. And now, because I've got the time, I'm enjoying it. It's good.
Yeah. And are you finding that you've never spent as much money on food as you are doing at the moment?
Oh my God, Monday, right? Monday is shopping day, so I prepare myself. We have a really organised shopping list that goes on the one-way system of Morrison's. Every week it's going up, every bloody week. I mean, we're buying more treats and stuff like that, like Magnums and chocolate and all that shit. But the shopping bill has just gone through the roof.
No,
and when you get home, it's like a Red Cross parcel in the POW camp. The kids are on it. They're eating cheese. Where's my chocolate? It's there, but it's gone.
But that is the thing. You put something in. I've got a 14-year-old and a 10-year-old. You put it in the fridge, and literally 24 hours later, it's all gone.
I'm actually hiding stuff now, and that's the only way to make it last the week. But I wonder if it's something to do with anxiety that's making the kids eat like mad. I wonder if it's slightly to do with that, because it has been weird for them. I mean, my 11-year-old. I'm not doing home education. I'm not doing that. It's people are getting really stressed about it. You know, there's people putting mortarboards on and doing register first thing in the morning. You know, Dixon. It's like, but my boy's just playing Minecraft all day long, and it's really creative. Yeah, it's really creative. He's arguing about how much redstone he's got with a kid in America and all the rest of it. It's really negotiations. There's resources. It's really educational, so get on with it, lad.
That sounds good to me.
We've done favourite moments.
I suppose it was when I did Rita Sue and Bob 2, and we did it in Bradford. And I mean, amongst other things, it was a little bit crazy. It was quite mental. But having that many audience members, there was over 1,000 in one night, and I just remember being like, God, this is what it must feel like to be a small rock star. So I think that's one of the moments where I was and also I was absolutely shitting myself.
With Rita Sue and Bob too. When you said it was all a bit crazy anyway, give us a flavour of that?
Lee, it was a bit. It was a bit like being thrown to the dogs at the same time. A lot of heckling, because obviously people know the show from the film, don't they? So
yeah.
And so you get a different type of audience, which I'm all for, is theatre being for everyone. But sometimes I think they forgot that there was not quite part of the show.
Yeah.
So we did get a lot of heckling, and sometimes in the wrong places. But also I think a lot of the northern venues anyway.
Yeah.
And I found that. I remember being at the Lowry and someone shouting something at me, and I was like, just stay in it, just stay in it, just stay in it. God, just stay in it. But yeah.
I love them. The only problem is when you're in a play like that, you can't react. You can't when panto's slightly different. When you're in something where there's that interaction, you can have a bit of banter back. But yeah, it's funny. And I remember there were a couple of times in Oldham as well, wasn't there, when people were just chatting, just in the middle of scenes, and that's the one so and so, and it's running commentary.
Yeah.
And was it in Oldham where somebody had come to the front and said, "I'm really sorry," to the actors? I don't know which show it was, but then somebody had come to the front and said, "I'm really sorry, I've got to go, I've got to get me bus."
God bless her. I just get my last bus.
Rod, favourite moment?
There's two things recently. The Mother Courage company were just delightful to work with. Not just Pauline, who was obviously lovely, but all of them. They were all actor musicians, and we had just such a ball. We didn't have enough rehearsal time, inevitably. It was a bit of a beast, but we did a stage version of The Shed Crew, which is a true story, about a group of feral kids in Leeds in the 90s, and they're all in their 30s now.
based on the book Urban Grimshaw and the Shed
Yeah,
Crew.
exactly. And several of the Shed Crew have died of bad heroin, sadly. And in fact, the lead character, Urban himself, only died 3 months before we opened. So we had to think about what we were going to do. And we got the writer to rewrite it as a tribute to him. And then we had, in the months going up to it, we had to negotiate with the real people. We didn't really meet them, but there was lots of like phone calls and stuff like this. Make sure that they were happy that we were doing their story. But the night I'll never forget is when they all came. And I was terrified, because if we got it wrong, they'd have been mortally, insulted and angry and all the rest of it. And we would have seen as posh theatre people, exploiting their story. But they were all a bit drunk, and they absolutely loved the show. And what was weird was the casting was spot on, just by somebody looked after us. So I had no idea that Urban's mum was mixed heritage, and I cast Tanya Vital in that role. And her sister came, the real woman's unfortunately dead, and her sister came and went, "You just look like my sister, you just look like my sister." And Jim Lewis was playing this big Hulk of a lad, and the big Hulk turned up, and he was just like Jim. But the funniest thing was, there was a character called Skeeter, and Liddell Bryant was playing him. And in real life, the character's white. And he turned up a bit drunk, and when Liddell walked on stage, he went, "Fucking hell, he's black!" And then they were doing selfies in the bar together. They were real mates at the end. The show was a tribute to the guy who'd only died. And the end of the show, it was so cheesy. We did a petal drop and everything. But the whole audience were just weeping, and they kept coming back without tickets, and we had to let them in. It was wonderful. So yeah, that's something I'll never ever forget.
So when I was doing my little bit of prep, I'm saying a little bit of prep, when I was looking for a picture of you,
Me?
Alyce, yeah. When I was looking for a picture of you, the first thing that popped up was a Guardian interview that you did. They'd interviewed you about drama schools.
When that was, I don't know. Gosh, because I do get asked a lot about my journey into acting and things, because it's slightly different. I always say, like, the worst thing was for me was I got told that I was talented enough to go, but I wasn't rich enough to be able to go, which was kind of the hardest thing for me to kind of accept. And then also when I was there, everyone else had, like, it just was a different kind of set of person. Like, I know it's very, I don't want to stereotype anyone or say anything, but it was people who I could tell had a lot of money, and I didn't have all those things. And so I do hope that it does. I hope that, because I'm sure we all are, such a huge advocate for theatre being accessible, and I think that drama schools particularly have to be the ones as well to change that, because still now I look at grad photos and I go, really, we're still doing it? And if you're not doing it, how are we supposed to get into the industry? Therefore, the actors aren't there enough for them to be able to be hired, unless, like me, they're go down a different route. When I was auditioning, I had to pay for audition fees, and then getting to the places, and then staying over if it was in London. So I just got, I'm like, please, like, how are we still doing this? How are we still, like, seeing grad pictures and everyone just seems to look the same?
I remember a young lad. He was 19, and he had a big birthmark on his cheek, and he was told at auditions for drama school to have it surgically removed. And I said to him, whatever you do, remove that, because that stands you out from all the other pretty boys in their yellow puffer jackets waiting to audition. You'll be the lad with the birthmark. And so that already puts you at an advantage straight away. So they're giving you duff advice. And that wasn't that long ago, to be honest with you. It was about 15 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. And I still, and you look, and you say, look at the photographs, and they're all perfectly chiseled. Game of Thrones types.
So while I'm still with you, Alyce, what do you think the industry will look like coming out of the back of this? What are your hopes and fears?
I fear that because places want to maybe keep audiences or have that they'll stick to what they've been doing so far because they go, well, we know that works, and it's not a scary thing to them, that they'll keep on doing what they do and keep things the way that it looks, and it doesn't change. What I hope is that people are more inviting and want new people to work with, and it doesn't look the same, and it isn't the same people that are cast all the time, and I just hope that it's more accessible for people, and that we've had all this time to kind of sit and go, what can we do and what can we change and how can we be better, as opposed to being like, well, we're running along and using it as an excuse to be like, well, we don't really have time to think about those things. So I hope that that's the change that we see.
Rod, what do you think?
I'm probably going to piss some people off by what I say. My hope is that I think the Arts Council have been brilliant. I think they've been really responsive, and I've got a feeling that if they carry on as being as good as this, that maybe things will even up a little bit. The new strategy, which is Let's Create, is all about everybody out there being a participant and an artist, and you can't do that if all you do is fund the Royal Opera House and the National and stuff like that, because those places are quite intimidating. I've been working in theatre for a long time, and I still feel uncomfortable when I sit in the National and all the people around me speak with a certain powerful voice, and it doesn't feel safe to me as a working class person. So I hope things get evened up a little bit. What's interesting is talking to artistic directors of buildings. For years, they've been jumping through hoops of the Arts Council and saying, oh yeah, our audience reach is much wider and we do this, do that, the other. And now they're saying, oh, we're really worried because most of our audience are elderly. And you go, you've been bragging about how diverse your audience is for years. It's a lie. They're all grey hairs. They're all baby boomers with spare cash. And once they don't come, you're going to be in trouble. And you go, isn't it about time then that actually should even things up, and that they need to wake up in a way and have a different approach. And as you say, Alyce, be braver. Be braver. If I see another production of, I don't know, let's say Great Expectations, there were like 5 a few years ago, and you go, you're doing that because the baby boomers will come and the school parties. But is it good theatre? Well, maybe, but I don't want to see another production of Great Expectations. Please, come on, let's grab hold of it and make it exciting. Just before lockdown, I was starting to do some research, R&D with Dougie Thorpe, who's an ex-Phoenix dancer, and he's a choreographer, and he and I want to make a piece of work about taxi driving, but we want to make it in a sort of graphic novel-y sort of film way, with lots of movement, but lots of gauzes and projections and stuff like that. And he said he wants to do it that way because he's got 2 19-year-old sons who never go anywhere near dance or theatre or anything. And he says they'll come and see this. And that's the way we've got to start thinking is how do we make it funky and cool and exciting relevant. And lively and relevant, exactly, relevant. So maybe my hope is after this, we will have to be, but I do feel it must be really worrying. I mean, like Southampton Nuffield's gone down, hasn't it? Square Chapel out of the blue.
That's gone, yeah.
I mean, we may not have any buildings to go to. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but,
No, that is a real fear, though. There's a real fear.
They're going to have to be really creative to make those places welcoming and safe and, for everybody. The other night we had a board meeting on Zoom, and I said, why don't we buy a flatbed lorry and just drive straight to an estate and perform on that? And they looked at me like
the thing's full.
Yeah. Well, why not? That's good old-fashioned players, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you could drive, and they could stay safe. They could watch from their bedroom windows and stuff like that. It would be great. It would rock up as proper travelling players.
Love that.
Would be great. Who's driving the wagon?
Oh, we'll hire somebody with tattoos on her arms.
Yeah,
a big woman with blonde hair and tattoos on her arms, going, "Get in me lorry, lads."
Brilliant. But it's about, stuff like that, though. I mean, the way that art gets funded these days. There's so many platforms out there like Patreon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which, you don't have to sell a theatre ticket. You can just say, give us £1 a month, and we'll just do shit like this for, and that.
Well, years ago, I remember touring in Holland, as an actor. And in Holland, the council would buy the play. It was knee-high, so we were performing outdoors. But they would buy the play, and the whole town would get it for free. So I remember performing in a town square in Apeldoorn, and the audience was everywhere, on the roofs, in the trees, hanging off the lampposts, in their bedroom windows, as well as on the floor near us. But they all came because it was free. And we've got a sort of English sort of prejudice against stuff that's free. But I think that's the next thing, is for councils and the Arts Council to just buy the art, and then we can give it away.
Yeah.
Because I would love to do that. Our big hurdle is persuading people to cough up £5.
Yeah.
They haven't got it in Dixon or Belle Isle or whatever. If it was free and you could persuade them, it wouldn't be shit, because that's what we think. Oh, it's free, it must be crap.
It's shit. Yeah.
Yeah. But if it's good quality and it's paid for by the council, then come and see it. I'd love that.
It's been fascinating. Thank you, both of you. Look, it's been lovely to speak to you both. It's been lovely to see you.
Yeah.
Stay safe, stay healthy. See you later.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye. Lovely. Another lovely show, Michael.
Yeah. Wonderful. I was just going to finish off saying how lovely that show was. Both people who work predominantly kind of theatre and know awful lot about it, so it's good to hear their opinions and their thoughts and their hopes. And I really like that idea of driving the flatbed in and just going, theatre, have it. I think there's a little bit of punk rock in that, and I like that.
That's Rod for you. Yeah. And if I know Rod, he'll make that work.
Yeah, I love all that. It's great.
Back on Wednesday, we have Tanya Vital, actor, who
mentioned earlier in the show.
Rod mentioned earlier, absolutely. But you'll know her from Brief Encounters, from Emmerdale. She was also in Red Sparrow with Jennifer Lawrence.
I did look at her show reel.
Okay.
And there is that clip in there, and I was very impressed.
Coming on with Tanya, we have Chris Lawson, who is the artistic director of Oldham Coliseum Theatre. So that's Wednesday, 8:00. Like, subscribe, press the bell so you know where we are. But very much looking forward to that. So lovely to see you, Mike.
Thanks very much.
Look forward to seeing you on Wednesday when we are back with Tina Vital and Chris Lawson. 8:00, live. Like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff.
That's it. Thanks very much for watching. Roll the credits.